Okay, so everyone, welcome again to Kailo Kol Shira and partnership with President Barog. Lama Hashem Yechar Apecha B'Amecha. Why should you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, be so angry at your people? What does the Torah say? Let me write B'Apecha B'Amecha. It say Asher Aitzeisa Me'eretz Mitzrayim B'Koyach Gadol B'Yad Chazaka. Moshe Rabbeinu is telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu after the Ma'aser HaEgel, after the golden calf. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why should you be so? Look at the amount of effort you put in to take Kiviyachol, whatever that means, effort for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't mean, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu still took care of that. And now HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Klal Yisrael is saying, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now if you're not going to forgive the Jewish people, Ma'aseh Kol HaChatoyim Shabaylam. Look at this. Rav Nosson writes that the Ma'aseh Egel is inclusive of all sin of the world. All sin. All sin was included in that one sin. What does that mean? What does that mean? Ki kol ha'moide ba'avodah zara, kilu hu kaifer b'chol ha'Torah kula. Because if anyone gives any credence, chas v'shalom, to the avodah zara, if anyone should ever give any to serve an idol, chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. So that means the person is a kaifer, is a heretic to the whole entire Torah. We see right after the Ma'aser of the Egel, after this story with the Egel, Nitztavu al Malechas HaMishkan. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says right away, okay, so build the Mishkan. So there's much talk that goes on about this, right? You gave your gold and your silver to the Avodah Zarah. Now you're going to give your gold and your silver and all the things for the Hegdish to build the Mishkan. Okay? Vayideshin Isratza Hashem Yisbarach Yisrael. And by HaKadosh Baruch Hu was appeased by Klal Yisrael. Ayidei Moshe Rabbeinu. Shem Moshe Nafshay Aleim. That Moshe Rabbeinu, like we learned in the last lesson, that it was Moshe Nefesh for Klal Yisrael. He gave his all. He put his neck on the line for Klal Yisrael. V'yispalo ba'adam, and he davened for us. Ki Moshe haya yachol zayslim sayan nekuda taiva afilu ba'apachus shebebechusim. Because Moshe Rabbeinu was able to find the good deeds, was able to find good in even the lowest of the low. Moshe Rabbeinu understood to find in the Nekuda Taiva, the good deed, a good point in every single yid. That was Moshe Rabbeinu. Kimavaya, but the Divrei Rabbeinu zal bekam upon Melkutei Tinyana in Siman Pei Beis, right? What's that actually? Reish Pei Beis. Okay, therefore he was able to daven for them. Tamed afilu kishepogmu bechol ha'Torah kula b'maaseh Egel. Moshe Rabbeinu saw the Gutzkeit. He saw good in every single Jew. And again, we went over this. I'm going to just explain it for a moment now again. Rav Nosson explains it like no one else can ever explain this idea. That Moshe Rabbeinu, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save the Klal Yisrael. But what was the mechanics that Moshe Rabbeinu used? What was the mechanics that Moshe Rabbeinu used in order to appease HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Moshe Rabbeinu, like we learned a moment ago, knew to find the good in every single Jew. He saw the beauty in every single Jew. And he showed HaKadosh Baruch Hu how each and every Jew is special. And each and every Jew does a different mitzvah and another in a special way that he himself couldn't do like that. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you're going to destroy the Jewish people and you're going to make a nation with me, look what you're going to be losing. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu understood. Moshe Rabbeinu understood the Jewish people, and he understood how to find the good in a Jew. Even though they had the Egel, they made the Ma'aser Egel Azov. Moshe Rabbeinu was still able to find good in Klal Yisrael. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu said, Lama Hashem Yecha Apecha Ba'amecha. Why are you going to lay your wrath, your wrath on the Jewish people. These are good people, Moshe Rabbeinu is saying. Kihu matzah hatoiv shebeh. Because Moshe Rabbeinu found the good within us. V'azai nitche hara legamre. And therefore he was able to push off the bad completely. What's the example? The example is like this. If you went into a giant warehouse, there could be a giant warehouse that's pitch black. That's pitch black. And now you find in your pocket, you have a little match. You have a matchbook. And you light a match. Now in this giant warehouse that's black, you light a little candle. You light a match. You light a lighter. Now you can see. So we see that a little bit of toiv can be doicha harbe ra. Get a little bit of good can push off and dispel a massive amount of bad. A little bit of good. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu was able to do. He was able to be nitcha hara legamri, to push it off by finding the nekuda taiva in the Jewish people. Ki hara einay nechshav klal keneged mana taiv. Because all of the bad is not important at all. It's not important at all. Keneged against when there's a ma'at toiv, when there's something good. We don't recognize how important every single mitzvah we do, how important every good thing that we do is. It's meridic, it's unbelievable. Because even if chas v'shalom we make mistakes, and we all make mistakes, and we all have to make tshuva, and we all work on tshuva all the time, but to remember that we have that good, sheyesh b'hem adai, and there's still something good. There's still something good. Hashem Yisbarach nisratziloi, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu was appeased by that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, "This is true. This is true," because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves the good, and when you show HaKadosh Baruch Hu the goodskite in a Jewish person, it appeases the Rebbeinu Shalom. V'az limeid Hashem Yisbarach l'Moshe say the tefillah. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught to Moshe Rabbeinu the Seder HaTfilah. What is that? The Seder Lefan of Yud Gimel Shloish Esrei Midas HaRachemim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught Moshe Rabbeinu the Yud Gimel Midas HaRachemim, the 13 attributes of mercy. When was that taught to us? It was taught us after the Ma'is HaEgel, the worst Aveira, that's Kailal all Aveiras. The Ma'is HaEgel is Kailal all the Aveiras. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaches Moshe Rabbeinu the 13 attributes of mercy only after the Ma'is HaEgel. After Moshe Rabbeinu is able to appease the Rebbeinu Shalom. After Moshe Rabbeinu is able to cause HaKadosh Baruch Hu to forgive Klal Yisrael for this terrible, terrible act. I'll pass by and give you all my goodskite, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. Kol tuvi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, Shelimdai v'gila loy kol ha'toiv shelo yizbarach. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu taught and gave over all his goods, all the goodness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's all the goodness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The forgiveness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And how do you get forgiveness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? By finding the good. Finding the good. You have to always work on finding the good. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good for everyone. Tamid, regularly, all the time. And you can even awaken the good in the lowest of the low. If we know somebody that's a sinner, that's a Yid, it's Amcha, part of Amcha Beis Yisrael. So what we have to do is we don't go over to that person and we say, "Oh, what are you doing this and you're doing that?" Never work. You tell the guy, you tell this person how good they are. You tell them, "Oh, I remember all that wonderful thing that you did. Do you remember that wonderful thing that you did?" And recall the goodness in them. Recall the goodness in them. Why? Because a little bit of good can dispel a lot of bad, can dispel a lot of evil. So even though the person isn't lost, and let's say the person forgot he's not keeping Shabbos anymore, or whatever the case is, but you remind that person of the good deeds that he did, the charity that he gave. Anytime you did a good thing for somebody, remind him, remind her. And that's the secret. We can awaken good in the lowest of the lowest. And we can bring this person to be the part of the kav schus on to be meritorious. This is the secret of bringing back somebody to tshuva. By recalling their good. By recalling their good. I want to tell you a story, an amazing story, and maybe they'll help us understand this idea. Listen to this. There's in Eretz Yisrael, there's a girls' seminary. It's called Migdal HaEmek, okay? And this wonderful place, there was one time they went on a Shabbaton or whatever it was, and they came back and it was late. It was late when they came back, and when they got back, so there was a driver that was going to take the girls back to their homes around Yerushalayim and the surrounding areas, but there was one girl that lived far up north. And the Nahag, the driver, said, I'm not going to go, I'm not going that far up north. He said, I'm not going that far up north, all the way up north. It's a 3 hour plus drive. I'm not taking the bus all the way that far. So the Menal of this seminary said to his wife, all right, you know what, we'll take the girl back. It's not right. We'll take the girl back. And this girl was one of the prized girls of the seminary. She was mamish at tzedekis. She was mamish, one of the sweetest girls in the entire seminary. So all the girls went home and they get into their car and they're riding. It's a long ride. And they're riding, and they finally make it up to north. It's very late. It must be about 2:30 in the morning when they get there. And they pull into this moshav, okay? And they see there's a guy sitting on a bench. And the rabbi said to his wife, he whispered to her, it's a good thing we took this girl back. Look at these shady characters that are here. It's a good thing we didn't send her back our own on a bus. And the next thing you know, the girl sitting in the back says, hey, wait a minute, stop the car, please stop the car. He stops the car, and she jumps out, and she goes over to this guy on the bench, and she gives him a big hug. The rabbi is going out of his kalim. The rabbi is going out of his mind. He gets out of the car, and he says, is everything okay? She says, yeah, this is my father. The rabbi said, wow, this is your father? The rabbi tells this man, he says, I want you to know your daughter is the sweetest of the sweet. She's what a tzedekah she is. Wow. So the father says, thank you, Rabbi. And the father, the rabbi wanted to ask him, what did you do to be zoicha to have a girl like this? But the father preempted it. And he says, let me tell you a story. You're probably wondering how a guy like me has a wonderful daughter like this. So the rabbi says, yes, I am. He says, let me tell you what happened. He says, I grew up as a chiloni. I grew up as a secular person. But one thing I had respect. I have respect for the Gedolei Yisrael. For the rabbis of Klal. I have a lot of respect. He said, let me tell you what happened. It was one crazy day where I had a long day in my field. I have a big field. I'm a farmer. I have a big field. And I finished working in the field. I was very, 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 very tired. And what happened, he said? The next thing you know, he hears a helicopter. He hears a helicopter, and the helicopter is landing in the middle of his field. Wow. He's like surprised. Like, why is there a helicopter landing in the middle of my field? And he goes, he runs closer to the helicopter, and he sees out of the helicopter comes the great tzaddik Rav Avadia Yosef Zatzal. The great tzaddik Rav Avadia Yosef. And he sees Rav Avadia Yosef, he starts to throw up. He throws up on the field. Excuse me. Oh, he felt so terrible. He ran to the house, and he got a towel, and he got some water, and he brought back a bottle of water, and he gave it to the rabbi. He gave it to the rabbi to clean himself off. And the rabbi said to him, You're probably wondering why I'm here. So the man says to him, what is it? He says, I know that the Chilonim, the secular Jews, they take very good care of their children. They make sure that they're fit, and they make sure they have food, and they have good clothing, everything. But they're not always careful to what's going to be with their neshama. What's going to be with their neshama? They're taking care of their bodies, but what's going to be with their neshama? And I'm going around now, and I'm begging people here in the north, I'm begging the people to take their kids out, of these Chiloni schools, out of these secular schools, and put them in yeshivas, and teach them about teach them about the Rabbeinu Shalom. There are people that don't even know to say Shema Yisrael. Yeah, they know what the words mean, but they have no idea what it is. It's amazing. In Eretz Yisrael today, there are Jews still that don't know what Shema Yisrael is. They know the words, they know what they mean. Of course they know what they mean. They speak Ivrit, they speak Hebrew. They understand what it means, but they don't have any value to them. So Rav Avadia Yosef took the hands of this man. He took the hands of this man, and he said to him, I beg you, take your children out of the Chiloni school. Take your children out of the Chiloni school and put your children into yeshivas. Put your children into Jewish schools. And you'll see tremendous bracha, he told them. You'll see a lot of blessing. You'll see a tremendous amount of blessing by you doing this. So the man said to Rav Avadia Yosef, he said, I agree, and I will do that. I will do that. And the man told the manal that I also have two sons, and they're learning in beautiful yeshivas as well now, and they're doing very, very well. And because I met the tzaddik, you see again here how important it is to find the good in everybody, to find the good. Rav Avadia Yosef understood that. He talked about the goodness. He talked about how good they are to their children. He talked about how good they're taking care of them. They have clothing, they're fit, they're well taken care of, they have food, everything. He didn't mention their mistakes, he mentioned their good, and that's how he was able to bring them in. Anyway, let's finish now. Hashem, Hashem, kel rachem v'chanan erech hapayim. So the Yud Gimel Midas Arachim, the 13 attributes of mercy go, Hashem, Hashem, kel rachem v'chanan. What does that mean? We say Hashem 2 times. So the Sfarim all talk about that. Why is Hashem mentioned 2 times? Because the first time Hashem is mentioned, and the second time Hashem is mentioned, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Because even when a Jew makes a mistake and a Jew sins, it's the same Hashem before and after the sin. The sin does not affect the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's the same HaKadosh Baruch Hu before Hashem. Either way, it doesn't make a difference. Kal Rachem Erech HaPayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is slow to anger. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is slow to anger. Erech HaPayim. Sheshem Yisbarach Molei Rachman. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is full of compassion. V'toiv lako. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu does good for all. Umarich af latzadikim v'lerishayim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu holds back his anger. He holds back his anger on both the tzaddikim and the rishayim alike. Ki hu mate klape chesed v'dones hakol lekav schus u'maitzin nekuda taiva afilu b'peishei Yisrael. Because like we're learning, the tzaddikim, what they do is they take and they find the good that's in the person. And what they do is they are able to dispel a lot of bad by a little bit of good, like the example that we gave. If you're in a very dark place, it's a very, very dark room, and you take a little fire, and then by having the little match, you're able to see in the room. Why? Because the little bit a ma'at or can be doichik harbe choshech. Okay, a little bit of light can push off and dispel a lot of darkness. And that's how they can find to bring the person to the kav schus by finding the good in the person. The Rebbe is going to explain what that means. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu does this. In other words, if we focus on the good, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be done the person lekav schus, u'maitzin nekuda taiva, v'zeh ha'chesed noitze u'mamtik la'alofa. And this is the chesed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sweetens and uses for the 1,000. Hainu, afal pi sheyesh keneged zeh alofim v'ribos pigamim. Even though there are myriads and thousands and myriads of mistakes that go against the shapagam oisei adam that person did, afal pichein, even still, ma'at ha'toiv, that little bit of good, shemaitzi, ayidei ha'chesed, doicha hakol, that little bit of good that the person works on finding, and he searches for that little bit of good. V'oid ma'at, ve'ein rasha. We learned that. V'oid ma'at, ve'ein rasha. There's a little bit that's pure. That's pure. And through that, he could be doicha, he could push away all of the bad. And through that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu noise ovan v'vesha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu carries noise. Noise is a lotion of like a load ovan v'vesha. And remember, I learned that we learned this a while ago. I saw in the beautiful sefer the Bas Ayin. Okay, the Bas Ayin is buried in Tzfas. He had a shul in Tzfas. Also, a beautiful story with the Bas Ayin. That one time they were davening on the Shabbos. I think the story goes, and the Bas Ayin told his community to come to the front. All the guys in the back of the shul, come to the front of the shul. As soon as the last guy came to the front, there was an earthquake, and the back of the shul collapsed off the mountain. The back of the shul collapsed. Everyone was saved. So the Bas Ayin says an amazing thing. The Bas Ayin says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is noisei avan v'fesha v'chata v'naki. What does that mean, he says? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says like this: I choose to have the Hester Panim in the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses to have the Hester Panim. He chooses to hide himself in the world. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hides himself in the world. Via HaKadosh Baruch Hu hiding himself in the world, a lot of bad things can go wrong because HaKadosh Baruch Hu hides himself. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu would make himself known to everybody and show himself to the world, to every single Jew, that he's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he wouldn't hide from every single Jew, so then the Jews wouldn't make the mistakes, they wouldn't sin. But because HaKadosh Baruch Hu because HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses, for whatever reason, to have the Hester Padim, the hiddenness in it, to hide himself in the world, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses that, because he does that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says the Bas Ayin takes responsibility. He takes responsibility for our wrongdoings. How does he take responsibility for our wrongdoings? Because he says, if I would show myself in the world, then I wouldn't be so hidden from the people, so then they wouldn't make so many mistakes. You understand? Anyone have any questions on this? No. Okay. In those, if I wouldn't hide myself in the world, the people would make the mistakes. Elamai, I choose to hide myself in the world. Because I choose to hide myself in the world, this is what happens. Nice Avam V'Pesha. Now we understand what it means. Nice Avam V'Pesha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes the responsibility. And that's how we can be brought l'kav schus. And that was the way of that Moshe Rabbeinu used this beautiful idea to help Klal Yisrael. And he said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu these words, Lama Hashem yecher apecha b'amecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why are you going to lay your wrath on the Jewish people? You took them out of Mitzrayim. You took them out of Mitzrayim. And Moshe Rabbeinu was able to find the goodness in every single Yid and convince HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we are good and we will be good. Does anyone have any questions on this concept?
No.
No. Okay. Any comments? No? Okay.